Hey there, I entered a wedding contest for Best of 2024 wedding photos. I didn't win anything. It was very, I'm fine about it. But what I liked is that I got to gather all of my favorite images from 2024. I put them in a very lengthy blog post along with several others, but I wanted to go over in this video some of my very favorites. I wanted to go through in like a slideshow, but like also just so you could go through each image, the specific moment, or maybe how I got a specific composition and what I did with it. So it's a little bit of a show and tell, a little bit of a show off, as I'm very proud of these, and a lot of hopefully what I was busy with last year in my wedding season. I guess we could call this the loser's gallery of images. However, I will not go that far. I'm super excited to share them. Needed to do another format for it, and here we are. First image is a shot on film. I believe it's Acros 2, black and white. Pretty obvious what's going on here. Couple just got married, walking up the aisle. It was framed by like these bushes it was in a sunken garden setting. And so the frame of the bushes, the darkness of the edges really kind of pulls you into the lightness of them in this moment. I'm cheating from this wedding, but I needed to put these two in there as well. This is also Acros 2 on both of these, shot with the Leica MP. Obviously great moment. This was first wedding I had ever used with my 35mm Cinemachrome vintage 1969 lens, and it worked out very well. I live for this flare in here. I had a lot of fun with this series. This is a South Asian wedding captured on Cinestill 400D. It was a real surprise. I wanted to bring out Cinestill and see what it could do for an Indian wedding, to pick up the colors. You know, more of a motion picture film could go a lot of ways as far as color, saturation, and how it's picked up. But I was very, very pleased. A lot of my South Asian weddings, I'm with them for several days, lots of different events and things happening. This was for a reception. This was a total risk. Also, this couple did not hire me specifically for my film work. I just was testing some things out. It was earlier last season. This was a total fluke of an image. This was captured on Cinestill 800 tungsten. Videographer had set up a light behind her. I was like, oh, this could be really interesting. Maybe I'll play with the flare behind it. So I just had her stand in a way like to get that offset light from the side. And this was the result. And it's a really striking image. I love like the shininess of her outfit, and then the lovely bokeh all around. It is Cinestill, man. Not my go-to film stock choice, but maybe it should be. I had a lot of fun with it for that South Asian wedding. This was shot in San Francisco. I took the couple around for just couples portraits in Golden Gate Park. They live in the area and wanted to do like, you know, something familiar to them just in their wedding attire. So we went around a few different places. This was the De Young Museum, if you recognized it. This was captured on like a M11. One of my favorite shots. I mean, the groom's style was so unique, and I loved him like with his suit behind this wall. It was kind of the perfect place. He kind of is like chameleon-esque on the setting. And then my bride had this lovely, like flowy, airy dress, and I just had her walk back and forth a couple times and had him stare directly onto me. It's such a unique little like sliver of sunlight as well, and that was total accident. I think I kind of noticed it there. I was just looking at the framing of getting him in between those pillars and then hoping that she would walk at a pace that I could capture her kind of right on. I have a few different versions of this, but this is by far my favorite one. So you can tell that I light up when I look at it. It just makes me, I'm just very proud of this. No awards, but darn, it's a good shot. This was Castle Green in Pasadena, which is one of my favorite venues to shoot. This was on a tilt shift lens, the Canon 45mm tilt shift. I love doing fun things with the wedding party, and I also love Wes Anderson, and I love very like specific lines. This tree was so obnoxious, and I actually feel bad because now that it's really evident to me, I'm missing one person in this photo because they're covered by the tree. There's several different versions. We had a lot of fun with the wedding party. Just this one person is covered by the tree. I still like the photo a lot. I just love to do something interesting with wedding parties. I have a little piece of glass that I use, or the reflection of my phone. That's what this image is. I have several versions as well that don't have the distortion to it. It's just normal, but I think this is just really interesting. Bride is very much an artist. She's very, very talented. And I wanted to do something for her wedding pictures where it felt a little more painterly, like the beautiful art that she does. So I worked really hard on these compositions to make sure that they were structured in a way that was kind of like her art. This is one of the ways that I did that. Oh man, this photo, this series, this day. So this was a South Asian Sangeet. It is a like music, dancing, singing type of welcome reception before wedding festivities. My bride had this lovely like reddish hot pink. This was on Ektar 100. It was an incredibly hot day. I love just like that loose idea of like playing with hands and like creating interesting like structure around bride's face. So I was just having her play a little bit, you know, giving freedom, but just also kind of letting us discover a little bit. And I found this shadow line that went right directly behind her against this like very stark white wall. And it was perfect with her outfit. I loved that. I just wanted her face to feel a little bit more of the light. And I am obsessed with this image. It's really good. Can you tell how big of a nerd I am at this? This image on Portrait 800. The ceremony was not supposed to be inside. It was 106 that day though, so they brought everybody inside for this. I just love the moment of them looking at each other. There was some stage light obviously coming from above. And then you can also see the faint haze of the incense from the stage setup of the Hindu ceremony. It's really pretty moment. There was a theme. I really liked motion blur this year. I just had the wedding party kind of run around the couple in circles and had the couple stay very still. I had this very grand staircase venue in Chicago where it gave me the leading lines, and I just had the wedding party go crazy. And they did. They followed directions very well. Same wedding, a film image. This is on Kodak's 400 T-Max, one of my favorite black and white film stocks. I mean, the image really says it all. It is one of the bride's favorite images and also one of my favorite images from last year. It's the best. I love doing film for weddings, obviously, for reception and the dance floor part. Sometimes black and white makes for just really classic images that also tell those stories of like crazy dance party vibes, but also in like an elegant way. This was one of my first weddings I shot last year. 2 brides in the Dallas area. It was a really rainy, wet day. They were very good sports about their dresses because we got a lot of water on their dresses. I wanted to make sure we got a really interesting creative set of photos, and if their dresses just got really wet, and they ended up blow drying them before ceremony. But this is a more calm image from what we got. I was using a little prism piece of glass to achieve this effect of having the rainbow kind of shoot out of the 2 ladies. This is on the 2870 lens actually, and I didn't do a lot of motion blur with this lens. This is probably one of the only ones. I was just getting the groom to go up and down the stairs a couple times, having my bride in her like very unique wedding gown look out kind of that window light. I love the framing of it was a choice. It was very specific. I wanted her to be kind of aligned with the picture and to have that leading line of the stairs. And I love the leaves I have in the foreground. I have a couple versions of this. I really think this one's very nice and striking. My work is moments. It's a photojournalistic style at its core, is what I always say. Very artistic version of that. This is just a really, really nice moment. It kind of gives me goosebumps looking at it. A bride tear running down her face, getting a nice letter from her sister. I had a lot of fun with this, the Ritz Carlton, and lots of places to do pictures. One of those places where I get a little overwhelmed because I have so many ideas and I need to narrow it down. I ended up really loving the images in this like corridor. This was right outside some of the restaurants on property. Light was very intense, super bright. The day before when I scouted, it was all clouds, and I hear that it's clouds all the time, but we got super bright lights. I separated them. I had the groom stand in the frame and I had my bride with her. Beautiful draping, just kind of playing. I think I gave her a few different directions, and this is a shot that I love a lot. I like the separation between the two of them. I shot it. I found this like pillar and divided them out perfectly I was on the other side of the altar. Love the colors of the pop of gold and the very intense expressions on their faces. They lightened up, they were fine, but just, there's so many emotions and things going on during a ceremony. I also like this version where they're both more praying, meditative, and you can notice, and maybe it's not as obvious, but the priest is waving back and forth. I don't know the word for it, but it's a little like doily thing with its furry, all very technical. But I love how you are just in the ceremony in this image. You feel the importance and the weight of it all in this picture. Love this portrait of this groom. His glasses too. I just, it's one of my favorite portraits. It's a little bright, you could say, over in the grass, but it's really nice to have her in the foreground. Obviously the candidness of these moments. This is one of my favorite things to shoot ever at weddings. The dumping of this turmeric rice is just fantastic, and Leica's the best way to capture it. In Ohio last summer, pre-reception pictures in the lobby. This was a very long marathon day. We did 2 different ceremonies. We did a reception at night, so it was really, really an intense day. I'm glad it was this couple because they were so enjoyable to be with. They went through 3 different outfits, and just the amount of energy that they brought and like enthusiasm to each location that I picked for us to be in. All good things to say, but this set specifically was done in the hotel lobby. The light was so interesting as it flooded in, but it changed very quickly. A couple was supposed to be there within like 10 to 15 minutes. So I scouted it for that. We found all the spots. Then we got delayed and couple didn't show up till like 40 minutes after we were supposed to. So the light of everything that I had scouted had completely changed. However, I think it worked out really well. I have a couple from this wedding that I just love so much, and sorry. This was really, really strong groom portrait. The rock in the back was up. I cannot say this. The rock in the background was the backdrop of their wedding ceremonies. I wanted to use it in a new way for their portraits, so I had them placed in this interesting kind of pose here, and I had the groom just looking a little bit over his shoulder. Because of the characteristics of this lens, it gives it that rainbow flare. I love it so much. The groom barat, a couple images here just of like the chaos and fun of this groom portrait. I particularly love this shot. This is actually shot on Canon. It's really cool. And this is another just interesting portrait. Put a little bit of glass on the side of the lens. However, this is not a super trick. I just had the couple stand in this hallway that had mirrors on either side. So it was like infinity mirrors. I knew I wanted to use it to create a cool portrait. I did edit out there's a bathroom door right on the side there, and I just edited that out. Is it a little unusual of a portrait? Yes, but I had to do it. This lens was by far complete standout this year. This was on the 35mm Summicron. It's a vintage lens, and it does this incredibly unique, I call it bubblegum flare. It's like orbiting around. It's very pink, very warm, and I love how it captured the sunset photos with this this couple. This couple also makes me really happy. I thought this for sure would be a contender at winning something. This is one of the, I think, the coolest photos ever. This couple walking into their dinner reception, and this like flare from the sun. It's no tricks or effects. It's the actual just sun seeping in. This couple was so happy all day long, and I think it really uniquely captured that. Yeah, so those were the highlights of my 2024. I obviously had a lot more, and I put them all together from all kinds of weddings, but these were standouts for me. I love going through them. It's, you know, I feel all the emotions. I don't hide it very well. I get really excited about these and like how they turned out. Awards are a funny thing in the wedding industry. There's also a lot of like scams involved. Only submit to one, and I've gotten honorable mention one time. I don't measure my work by how many awards that I win. These are not award winners, but they're definitely favorites from my year, and hope you enjoyed me chatting about them.